Just working. Damn it. Very hard to balance and look at your phone. Oh, I don't blame you for not being able to tell what my face is. Ow, that hurt my face because I hit my face in with a ladle. Let me see. Shit. Ah, Lou. Quarantine with me. Hi, hello, me again. The autistic, repetitive autistic asshole. Didn't quite situate my hair, but how does one situate their hair in this scenario? It's like, what's gonna make it look better? Or like a better version of that? Is this like when you balance those dirty dishes until someone arrived? Dude, those dishes weren't dirty. That had my breakfast on it. I mean, it had the makings of the marmalade and peanut butter tacos, so fair enough. As you can see, I'm not wearing my nice eyeliner because the sides of my face hurt from having to rub it off. So we're back to the classic, just specific one. The lighting's pretty decent in this, though, I think. Oh, I see 3 people. I think it looks fine as is. Thank you. Exactly, they were used, meaning it was dirty. No, I was holding a clean plate and a coffee pot, and the clean plate had like the marmalade and peanut butter jar in it. So briefly, we may have a pause of you listening to a background noise of me accepting a delivery, which is always fun because I always forget, like, grab the wallet first or put on the mask first. Which thing do I do? And then they're like ringing the doorbell over and over again, and they can't hear me when I'm yelling, like, coming. Speak of the devil. Told you I was psychic. I'm coming back to my own stream soon in a sec. Just give me a sec. Yeah, I know what that word is. I know where I look. Okay. Look, I had to replenish my apple juice somehow, and I'm a hermit to potentially an unhealthy degree, but that's up for debate. Look how I'm late to my own stream. Okay, I swear I'm coming. There's a process, right? I have to put away the bag and stuff, but then I have to wash my hands because I like to make sure that I'm clean. Did any of you ever have your mom like constantly tell you every time you get home from anywhere, wash your hands? Best habit ever ingrained in, well, one of them, I guess. I don't know. One of the best habits, especially like for 2020, golden. I was golden with that habit instilled in me. Okay, almost done. Yes, I know I'm supposed to wash my hands back longer, but look, I'm in my own house. Figuring maybe there's a little bit less risk. I'm back. Okay. I like jamming to your tunes. Okay, good. Alrighty, everyone in this chat better simmer down now. Are you going to talk about the complexes as disorders thing for this psych chat? I wanted to go into the, like what's in the title, the conditions for further study. And I already discussed the complexes thing, or did it? I talked about that in a live stream, right? It wasn't like a patron only stream. I did it in a public live stream where I compared the two. Complexes are more something where you discuss sort of like persons having, it's kind, okay, I am not a professional, but the only way that the way that I would conceptualize it, like if I were given an exam right now and told to define it, I would define it as pretty much, let's assume that I'm not a clinician, I'm not licensed or anything for anyone rewatching this. So whatever I say, assume it would just be like to the best of my knowledge, essentially, if this were a question asked on an exam. So I'm giving my best, I'm doing my best, but there's no guarantee because I'm not like, you know, I'm not officially licensed or anything. Yeah, I don't want this one. No, not that one either. No, stop it. Do the one I want. Perfect. It's called I'm Okay. Sarcasm. My hair looks pretty decent in this with this style. Nice. It was looking horrible earlier. He's still you. He left the simmer down thing. Really makes me laugh. I don't know why. Makeup is like melting on my face. Everything's up for debate with you. Well, I mean, like I don't know if you. There's a comma there, so you're saying like, because some things I'm not sure if they're up for debate. They aren't. Everything technically is up for debate, with just the background assumption of this is considered fact based on what we have now. And it's sort of like the way I think of it is like I remember I was like mind blown when I went to the uni class at the uni I go to now. And the professor was telling, like, arguing about the concept that facts don't actually exist, where it's just sort of like, but then what can you really define it as? And it essentially, like, it's literally only off of stuff that we can prove, but what can we prove if you just go beyond the whole, like, exactly. That's why, like, even as a person who's incredibly logical, that's why I believe in the fact that there's so much more out there that we don't understand. I'm not about to worship a rock, but it's like there was a time when people thought the earth was flat, and that was a fact. So does that make sense, what I'm talking about? So definitely up for debate. That's what I put this one in psych discussion, because it's probably going to be a little bit more all over the place, especially because the topic is revolving around the conditions for further study, which aren't things in the DSM. They are not conditions even clinicians can diagnose, because they don't exist as valid diagnoses. Like they're proposed essentially in a way for the next DSM. And I looked into about like what the idea of the DSM was, like when it might come out. I couldn't find anything conclusive regarding anything like in a quick search about DSM-6, what might be like to come with it. But yeah, also, complexes, I will leave it at like it in my head. If I had to describe it, I'd describe it as like something like intrusive thoughts. Well, I guess that could be that's more of a symptom. It's sort of like more than a symptom, but less than a diagnosis. That's why it's harder. But it's sort of, I guess, to be honest, it's not something you really diagnose. It's more of a, they're used often within psychology as theories in the past. Like nobody, like when Freud was talking about it, he was proposing that this is what happened
commonly during like people's development or stuff. I need to do more research on it, but that's a fascinating question that actually I want to ask. Um, I'm taking a course in abnormal psychology, so it's a perfect place to ask. I think I'll propose that question. I think I'll ask. Hey, you may have given me an idea for a project or something. Thank you. We look back on what horrible medical practices performing like 40 years ago, definitely how we perceive medicine and healthcare in the future. True. It's kind of like hard because they learned so much from a lot of them. But I will say that like a lot of it was like there was parts where it was just solely like money unnecessary, like it really didn't need to go that far. Then there are the things like the Stanford prison experiment where we did learn a lot. It did go past some of the ethical bounds and is one of the things actually that I'm just going off memory that helped with defining the ideas of like the way we implement experiments. Like it helped shape more of what the methodology is today. So yeah, this is definitely going to be more of a set discussion thing, and I think that's. I really want to. I'm going to write this down because I really actually want to ask my professor about like complexes versus this because nowadays you don't hear like I feel like the way it is it's like a more simplistic way of describing a set of symptoms, maybe. Like I haven't heard a clinician ever say that someone's got a superiority complex, but they may have vulnerable narcissism. Like maybe it's something that's unneeded because there's the actual diagnoses or the actual, maybe there's a more, maybe that's a layman's term for something that has a clinical term that I need to check on or that I may know of, but I didn't know is also perceived. That's a really fascinating question, actually. That's something that I understand both concepts and I have an idea in my head of how they're different, but I'm curious about the specifics of how they're different, if that makes sense, because I know for sure that no way in hell would any complex be anywhere near a diagnosis. But in history, did they diagnose people with like the Oedipus complex? Like, was that a diagnosis? I need to do research into that. But like nowadays, the diagnoses are based on either the DSM, which is classically in America, or the ICD. Let me see. We look. I was checking if there's anything new. I'm going to write this one down. This is just a bottom tier one because it's not about the other things. Not that your idea is bottom tier, but we have levels currently. So the thing that I wanted to discuss yesterday was, first I wanted to share this song while I not really getting anyone listening. This song is just what YouTubers I feel like are dealing with right now. Here's the copyright claim of this video. The song won't make it on the radio because the shit's too hard and the world's so soft. Oh my god, I'm so offended. I'm not great at that, but the song I'm bass in half, I'm hard and the world's so soft. Oh my god, I'm so offended. I make pop songs, I make songs that pop in Hong Kong. It's rock your mom wants to turn the fuck up. Since my song's on, she's turned the fuck on. Fuck it, the fuck one. Anyways, I managed to get the entire planet to hate me. You gotta hand it to me, gotta serve a Grammy. You bitches don't understand me. Bitch is something you can't say. Bitch, you already banned me by tweeting your little friend. Talking so fast. Oh my god, he said back in 2012. Shut the fuck up. In 2012, you were probably 12 drinking your chocolate milk. That line, like the line of oh my god, he said I'm not gonna say it because I don't want to get myself in trouble. Because apparently, even context, okay. I'm gonna rant for a second about like how. Did you hear the lyric? What it was? He said, "Blank starts with an F. It's a slur." Then again, if you're not straight, can't you say it? Like if you're gay, can't you say it? I don't know. I feel actually I'm not gonna I don't like watering down things because I just don't want to say things necessarily, but I also don't want my reasons for getting in trouble to be really stupid, even in context. It can be actually, but it's like how even before I was trying to explain macabre. The lyrics said wait, let me back it up because um I don't know, I thought epithet and slur epithets like what's the noun? Like the noun. Say that different. What exactly does that mean? Well, I don't mean of sticks, but add on gots, and that's what the word was. And it was saying, let me replay the lyric. But yes, hi macabre. Let me replay the lyric. 2012, shut the fuck. Just don't understand me. It's something you can't say, bitch. You already banned me by tweeting your little flag. Hashtag, throw on the trash bag. Oh my god, he said back in 2012. Shut the fuck up. In 2012, you were probably 12 drinking your chocolate milk. It's obvious to everyone, it's not a big deal. You're just begging for attention that you wanted to feel. It's hardly any artist saying shit that's wrong is real. But going against the grain is really not my deal. What do you know? The song won't make it on the radio. This shit's too hard. Kind of. I love the way it's like, oh my god, I'm so offended is like the chorus of the song. And that right there is, shall we take like a poll on which song will get copyrighted specifically? Wait. I beg her every time you tweet shit or say something. I just saw the dumb shit on a sticker. I don't get mad though. I'm not an asshole. You're in my lane, bitch. I'm in a pass though. Dishing out hot shit. Put us a casserole. Baby, you're that close. Yeah. Anyway, I managed to get the entire planet to listen. You gotta hand it to me. I deserve a Hemi. Fucking give me one Grammy. After Mickey is Sammy, I'm kidding. Give me some candy. I'm fucking sweeter than wine. I'm so sweet in your eye. I'll cut the easy as pie. I'll fucking leave you to die. Talks really, really fast, and this is what, like, this isn't necessarily a tune I'd like, but I don't mind. I do like, I really like Eminem because of his lyrics. Like the songs with some of the certain lyrics, I really love them just because of the lyrics. But this one, I just thought it was so much like, oh my god, he said that in 2012. And then it's like, shut the fuck up. You're probably drinking your chocolate milk. You're probably 12 and drinking chocolate milk. Like, that was just funny to me. Let me see. That's simple enough. What did you mean of sticks, though? Now I'm curious. And I don't think any homosexuals were harmed with him saying that. I can't speak for them, though, so who knows? Maybe him saying that set back the gay movement by 20 years. Is somebody murdering, like, whatever it is, a group, I forget what you call them, of crows? Guys, calm down. Literally nothing is going on. You guys could hear that, right? I go with this one being why you get copyright again. Same, unless I play another song. I thought my phone was over there. I might play another song. We'll see closer to the mic and we'll see which one actually gets copyright claimed. Because claims don't affect your channel much, but Eminem is good at lyricist so much. So much so. I might show you some of my favorite songs by him. Although I do love the edited parody of Mom Spaghetti, so One time I forced my mother to listen to that on repeat as I ate my mother's spaghetti. I know it's an old meme. I think that's considered a meme, but I will probably dedicate a section of this stream, maybe at the end, to just me. Like, you could clip it out as just a good, like, 5 minutes of me laughing. It's just 5 minutes straight of me laughing because I love it so much. Crows are dying outside. It sounded like somebody was trying to kill them at least. Didn't you hear them? I heard it faintly. Well, if you could hear it, like, I don't have my nice mics, nor do I have the other one that I really need to get from Snowy. But yeah, what was I saying? I hate having, also, just to let people know, like, I'm gay. Okay, weird. Yes, I have a male fiance. I'm homosexual, panromantic. Sexually, I am of the homos because of the definition, homosexual. Romantically, I can love anyone. Kind of love can transcend certain things, blah, 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 etc., etc. Details of that. Look, if I'm even going to explain that, I actually might, like, at some point, how it can work. Because people are always like, no, that just means you're bi, right? And I'm like, I'm just going to go with calling myself queer because it seems simpler than dealing with the questions or people telling me what my sexuality is. Like, yeah, no, you're bi. And I'm like, no, you're not understanding. That implies sexual attraction to both sexes. And then they're like, isn't that what pan is? It's like, oh, I said it was pan romantic, homosexual. God forbid they try to take a single biology class. Yeah, it should never get old. I like brain damage, the Eminem tune. I'm not sure what that is, but it sounds very appropriate. Well, I meant like Snow's Yeti is probably going to be. Do you hear them? Oh. They're a little bit further away, so they're harder to hear, but they're there. Back this up a bit. It's a little too close for comfort for me. Okay. What was I saying? Yeah, I was talking about. I really need to set that up. I'm thinking, like, with the way my thing is now, is because it's you guys, my mods currently. Who else is here? Are you still here, Macabre? You must hear them. They sound like dying seals, like at least 15 seals dying simultaneous, violent deaths. Women are gorgeous animals, totally understand being attracted to them. Honestly, like, man, it's like, there is joy. There's a sense of joy beyond just the fun of looking for new underwear when I look up stuff on Victoria's Secret, the sales section, because I really can't afford anything unless I have coupons or sales. I'd love to do, like, instead of watch-alongs, just like up-alongs too. So I'm thinking of they ain't faint anymore. Yeah. 15 seals dying violent deaths. Do you think it's your witch status that's luring the crows in? I mean, what? Do they just only do that specifically at 5 p.m. on Fridays? Like, I'm not a part-time witch. I saw the thing that says my computer's on low battery. It didn't decide to tell me that. No. I'm gonna put this. I'm putting a mask in the laundry basket. Roommate decided to get a desk, and now I have these giant boxes. Do they have our name on them anywhere? No. Okay, the name is not showing. I had to haul these with my tiny ass. This is them leaning to the side. Look at the height comparison. They're leaning. There's two of them. They're all my fucking... They probably weigh more than I do. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I got a desk and it's coming here. And I'm like, okay, because... All right, that's fine, but should I? Well, I didn't expect that they would come this quickly, much less like this is a big desk. I'm gonna probably end up being jealous. Damn it! It's one of those L-shaped desks. I've been wanting an L-shaped desk so much. I feel like I've got a desk, but it's most definitely a fairly small desk. And I really have enjoyed having this huge table. And I kind of am thinking of like I just want a large desk. Let me see. Oh, I was lagging for a sec. Okay. Yeah, having to carry something bigger than yourself is tough. It's annoying mainly because, like, I'm good with leverage, but it was like, I opened my front door to go check the mailbox. And that's what I get to see, is these huge boxes, and I'm like, these aren't even mine. I don't even have the joy of expecting something to come in the mail. So makeshift rehab becoming more permanent? No, it's not that. It's that I just house apartment house kind of beats it in some ways. We better bed, like there's an actual living room here. We don't actually own a couch or a coffee table or a dining table or literally anything like that. We have stuff in our bedrooms. That's about it. I actually might want to discuss like what I'm gonna get. I was thinking right after this stream, I might do I want to do a patron only stream tonight. I'm thinking to start streams earlier, to for the sake of keeping things from being like too late. I'm thinking at around the hour mark of this, I'll probably switch to patron only. At least one patron. Would you be up for that, Lou? Let me see the other things. Speaking as someone who's had to carry shower glass doors and water heaters, I feel you. That sounds awful. Especially the shower glass doors must just be like really anxiety provoking, because it's not just that you could break it, it's that it could be this very loud and, well, then again, it depends on what it's. Still, that one would probably provoke more anxiety. But then again, water heaters probably cost more. I don't know. You and roommate live off the bare essentials for the sake of not passing out on the carpet. Yeah, I'm up for that stream. Okay, good. I'm thinking the same thing. We'll be doing earlier ones. During that stream, we'll talk about more of the casual discussion stuff. And I was thinking of planning out more days specific with like when I'll do public lives, when I'll do both, but I'll cut one of them shorter or like just make it half, but that'll all be there because we're at like the half-hour mark, and I hope it hasn't been boring so far. I hope thus far it's been at least decently entertaining. Apparently, my title isn't as nearly as enticing as yesterday's. I carried the shower doors in the packaging and carried the water heaters both in and out of packaging. Okay, well, I don't know. I don't care enough to try to figure out which one is worse, but it sounds unpleasant regardless. This has been very interesting so far. Okay, good, because I don't want it to be too boring, because this is the public one. I'll be doing a poll on my Patreon probably about the next video. But a quick question is, do you think I should do... Actually, no, I can ask this on the other stream that we do, because the other one's pretty long. I wanted to talk more about the psych stuff while I just, do my thing. I've got to sort through some mail and just organize some shit that's around me. And, poetry. What I was thinking of that was like as sort of a, I guess you could say like teaser. Okay, I just found an out of context quote from RuPaul's Drag Race season 11. One of the queens. Yeah, one of the queens was saying this. And it's just, that bitch is into eating people and she's that skinny. Again, we're definitely making that book of out of context quotes. However that may end up being done. Or however long it takes. Eventually we'll get there. Let's see. I was going to tell you after uploading last stream to change the title, and thankfully you did so without a reminder. Yeah, because that time I remembered fully because it was so different from what I originally intended. I think you know what you're going. I think I know what you're going to ask, what you should do probably, but that's tedious stuff that for more time and people have less patience. I decided, let's see, what's in the topic? The title. I have, the discussion and a ladle. The ladle is coming. I like to include the ladle once we get more to the psych stuff. But I thought of poetry, I'd give sort of a teaser to what might kind of be like on my well, I guess I put question mark by poetry because I didn't know if it would be interesting or really relevant, but I guess like moving in between. Writing was definitely essentially my form of therapy. I guess you could say a lot of people talk about mindfulness and all that nowadays. If I could think of a single thing that would be even close to that, it would be this for me. And I had an idea of with my patrons and my channel in general, like more so with the patrons, but maybe a little bit with the channel, would be like putting together a song where it's all my lyrics. Yes. May? What are you yelling about? Meow. May has something to say. What's up, babies? Do you want a snack? Do you always want a snack? Ah, you rub my leg telling me yes, I always want a snack. Oh my god, I think I might be getting that dizzy vision thing. Am I dehydrated or something? I don't know. I don't know what you were going to ask. I think, okay, I thought there was another one. Again, really need to... How does nobody else, like other YouTubers, have this issue? Or do they come this... No, usually I don't see them go, like, have to move that close. We'll see. Oh, knowing what's the usual turnout that's going to end up happening is that we'll end up like starting off with this stream, and right when I'm like, yeah, let's start the patrons only stream, probably a bunch of people will show up. Okay, well, I was gonna look at something. May's protesting your patron. Hardly so. She knows that if I don't get fed, neither does she. I've come up with some song lyrics, so here's like a teaser of what I might have like be asking for help with. And mind you, I'm making up this tune. These are rough lyrics. This is the second time I've looked over them, so I can't seem to tell anything now. So lost in my head, 'cause the voices are too out. So when can I figure it out? How to lose the self-doubt? Because getting drunk don't mean much when you need it to have fun. But how can I figure it out when I'm a victim of myself? So who's the monster here? Is it me or beer? 'Cause it's the sober me I fear. Can't stand the taste, the fear. So, I'm not sure what's there. 'Cause it's hard to find a limit when your silence becomes a gimmick, a violent cheer, and applause I'm not allowed to hear. 'Cause it's the sober me I fear. That's a really, really like tiny, tiny teaser. That was a song that I like wrote off the top of my head. I haven't really like sat and put together a song fully in ages, and I still have that one song that I sang that has like the best melody. I was just checking, thought I heard something with maybes. And I still wasn't sure of it. I took some meds. I think I didn't eat enough with them, so they're affecting me a bit much, but let's ignore that. He's like, I don't pay well them greedy witch. Nice save to call me witch. I could feel a slower, low tempo, modern electric pop beat over this. Applause. My clone ghost applauds as well. Thank you. Maybe's is covering the ring light if there's a shadow. Yeah, this one would be a slower tune. It would be more of the like one of my favorite lines I think in this is the line of it's right there. Yeah, the line of 'cause it's hard to find the limit. Many tolerance becomes a gimmick, a violent cheer, and applause I'm not allowed to hear. 'Cause it's a soul but me I fear. That part I like especially it's hard to find a limit when your tolerance becomes a gimmick. Damn, good job, past me. Almost said my name. To watch myself. The first few lines. Let me see the first few lines, which ones they were. Can't seem to tell anything now. So lost in my head, 'cause the voices are too loud. So when can I figure it out? How to lose the self-doubt? Because getting drunk Told me much when you needed to have fun. Yeah, I was remembering the tune. It was slow, slow, and then go up a little bit faster. They're really good lines. They don't really flow together, but I think that's the point. Well, I didn't write them with the tune. So the tune, I haven't picked a tune. I'm not sure what the tune is, but I think it's a good idea to keep it a softer tune. Um, I guess like the concept really is just for anyone that's ever experienced that type of thing, but kind of that type of, not necessarily shame, but sort of a disappointment in yourself of relapsing in anything that you kind of hear in the song Sober by Demi Lovato, but not so much that, honestly, because I like a darker tone of it with more of going into yourself instead of that one, which is like, Danny, please forgive me for all the drinks spilled on the floor. It's not like apologetic. This one's just sort of like, damn, it's fucking shit to live with this. But I guess the not going together, it's interesting if it's that's the way you think is the point. That's one of the things that I love with my poetry specifically. If you notice, I mention more of the song ideas. Poetry, though, I really like to see what people interpret it as. But thank you about you saying that they're good lines. I think those are pretty good lines. You're so broken at this point in the tune, and it's just a waterfall of thoughts and reflections. I haven't experienced any heartbreak, maybe, or love, but I like to listen to those kinds of tunes. I think whether or not you've experienced it, it's interesting. Like either way, you relate, and you can relate to the song and the tune, or you're hearing a rawness that you aren't necessarily familiar with. And yeah, I guess I can't really say no when it says like, you're so broken at this point in the tune. What do you mean like in the tune? That's an interesting statement. Are you telling me I'm just so broken? Because I'm not going to deny you there if you're talking about like what the art insinuates. But I'm curious what you meant by relating it to the tune. I'd have to see it written down to interpret it. Well, I plan on like potentially later putting up some poetry, but songs will definitely be something I work on more on Patreon because poetry's still a little more like me. I need to not accidentally dox myself or anyone else, so I'm gonna be sorting through mail over here. Fuck, are these coming from the Appalachian Mountains? Oh, I thought that was totally like for someone else. Still, I'm not gonna question it at this point. Why did we get a magazine entirely about golf? None of us golf. Yeah, this doesn't have anybody's name on it. Okay, I think maybe it was. Can I use any of this for any type of interesting photos? I feel like I don't mind golfing, but like I prefer the kind with. I don't think I've done both of them, but like from what I've seen, I've tried mini golf, and usually when there's a windmill involved, it seems to be much more entertaining. Wait. I got the broken part of the tune because the lyrics were of negative retrospectives. Oh, that's what you meant. Okay, so okay, it wasn't the tune. For a second, I thought you meant like my voice sounded like it was breaking. I was like, well, kind of always is. But then I realized what you meant. I'm just curious, like, what's your interpretation about that? Like, if you were to describe a scenario that you think that those lines would relate to, how would you describe it? You've given me entire plot lines in like movie movie plot lines. Tell me like what scenario you think this would be like applicable to and or like you'd see this song playing in like a TV show when they'd be showing a scene and then that would be happening. That would be fun. Interesting. Golf mags. I mean, I guess they're figuring like people are really bored now. Let me see. I like your nose at this angle, by the way. Thank you. I was actually noticing it for a sec a few minutes ago, but I think I was talking about something and didn't want to lose my train of thought. At this angle, like it's I think there's a this is part of like the symmetry which makes a certain thing look more like again, it took meds making me my cognitive functioning slow down, and I hate when that happens, as we know. I like cognitive functioning to the maximum level, but this is what we're dealing with. Yes, symmetry. Symmetry is one of the things that impact a lot of when people find things to be looking nicer. And I think from this angle, it looks more symmetrical. This would be like, dude, I just realized I need to look into painting classes because I was having trouble. I waitlisted myself on like 3 classes, but maybe I should just sign myself up for something. I'll discuss that later. I want to hear your thing. Hello to you too, Pick. And I love that as an opening line of just, I'm drunk. No need for introductions or hellos or anything. Just, I'm drunk. Well, I guess, cheers. My meds, I took them in a bit of a weirdish order. Something happened and, yeah, they're making my brain a bit weird. But, bruh, I'm gone. I can tell from the fact that even when you were purposefully trying to misspell that, you added an R and misspelt the misspelling. Have you been having a good day and that's why you're drunk? Or is this had a really shitty day and that's why I'm drunk? Let me see. Lou. 2 people were flirting but not totally dating, and one of them takes the flirting to the next level and makes a move that hurts the other person and ends the friendship or relationship totally. Wait, like makes a move and the move hurts the other person? Or is the person who made the move hurt by rejection? I'm confused about that part. I drink because. Okay, we got past that part. Please inform me of what the because is. I mean, I'm invested now. I actually really want to know. It's nighttime across the. Isn't it nighttime across the pond? Well, it's nighttime here. I'm pretty sure it's like extra nighttime. I sound so intelligent saying phrases like extra nighttime. And you've come to the right place to chill. I sit here with goggles on my head, holding a ladle. Thought I heard something. Because it's Friday. All right. I wasn't sure if these types of things really apply. A, during quarantine. B, to YouTubers. There's actually should be no order to this. Because, like, especially during quarantine, you get a lot of alcoholics out of this. Like, one of most things I feel like that is purchased. Like, alcohol sales must be getting so high. My God, is that a ladle? Oh my God. Then why haven't you given me a shout out, dude? Actually, genuinely, Pick, I don't want to seem like a dick to be like a person that's pandering, like, oh, you won't give me a shout out. It's more of like, dude, you're really cool. We've been hanging out for a while. Why not? I'm actually just genuinely curious if there's a reason, because if there's a reason why I'm like shit or something, or why you have reservations, I'd be very curious. I have people who can attest to the fact that I don't mind if you sit here telling me I'm a piece of shit if it means I get a logical explanation. Well, I'm gonna read the other things. It says, I'm irrelevant. I don't know if you noticed, but I'd hardly give you any traction. Oh well. Have you not noticed the fact that I have 53 subscribers and you have... Thank you, Lou. Dude, like seriously, I'm okay. Is there another reason? Because if that's your only reason, and yes, I'm amazing, I'm great. I will add on my goggles because I have some big brain thing to tell you. Somebody with over 200,000 subscribers kind of trumps 53 subscribers. Maybe I'll help you, to be honest. I got nothing going for me. Dude. Okay. You really are drunk because you're getting into that whole like self-deprecating section drunk. Please help me. Unless you have a decent reason not to. Even if that reason, like, and by the way, by decent reason, that includes I just don't care to do such things. But I mean, like, if what was stopping you was you thinking it wouldn't help, please, no. Dude, I've been having so much trouble trying to gain traction, and you seem cool, and you seem like, obviously you're someone that YouTube has screwed over, and we're demonetized and all that. I feel like it would be interesting to do some sort of, like, if you wanted to give, I don't know about collab, because I only say that because I don't know how. But I'd love to be able to do something with you. Like, okay, you do a bunch of shit that's really good about like getting rid of the online predator people, by the way. Thank you, because I will tell you, like, that I'm remembering the right person, right? This is the person who goes against online predators, correct? I'm asking this only because I'm bad with names. But yes, you are the one who's calling out people. I'm getting confused because I've been like seeing there's just so many people who are getting like so many stupid fucking... Yeah, Pick does that. Okay. Personally, one of my first experiences involved something kind of dark like that with an online predator. So I respect the hell out of anyone who approaches the topic appropriately. I'm not generous. I'm saying the people who aren't shitty with it. And thus far, I've had no reason to see anything other than that from Pick. And what do you mean realize? Like, what do you think I'll do? Firstly, what could that possibly entail in my realization? Secondly, like, I thought, hey, Coop, how you doing? I thought you didn't show up here much because you didn't care much about the content here. Like, I genuinely, like, thought that you just would stop by just out of boredom or something. I didn't think you were even interested in the content. I'm a no one by YouTube standards, and I'm actually interested to see, like, why would you be scared of that? Like, if only from the logistics standpoint of somebody like me. Like, what's a no one in this scenario? Because if we're going like YouTube wise, I'm very much no one. I'm negative no one. I am below no one. I am try to use a microscope to see my existence. And good luck even trying to see any type of popularity because that doesn't exist. You do? I thought you just stopped by, which was fine. Like, well, what made you? Well, what makes you think that I'm not gonna want to be? Okay, uh, why are you genuinely afraid that I'm gonna think that you're no one? Like that you're. I didn't. Okay, you showed up in my stream. I didn't know who you were. And then I found out who you were and I was like, cool. And then you kept showing up and it was like, cool. I don't know anyone. I barely know names. I forget the names of some I don't know what it means for someone to be a someone and someone to be a no one. But yeah, I'm going to have a selfish moment and say, "Okay, please help me out because you think you're a no one. Well, apparently over 200,000 people think you're a someone. And YouTube is great at just auto unsubscribing people. So we can at least assume that much. Let me check on the other stuff. Alcohol sales skyrocketed April to August. Yeah, they did. Nearly 2% of her subs are in this chat. I think it's more than 2%. Is it 2%? Well, I gain the number of people that I gain are definitely a lot. I'm just catching up on the other. If you really don't want to, dude, fair enough. But you would really make a girl's day, hell, her year with a shout out. Much needed service to society, Pig does. I'm gonna say I'm gonna like corroborate what Lou said. That like if you really don't want to give a shout out, don't. And I'm bringing this up because I repeat things. It's in the title, Autistic. I repeat things. I'm annoying with it. And I have an issue when I don't get a direct confirmation of a yes or no. And I will keep bugging you about it, as you can tell. But it's not an upset bugging, if that makes sense. It's not a me being like, oh my God, why hasn't he done this yet? It's more of a just like, well, might as well. And I want you to know that my asking you isn't me asking you pick, because that's the only reason why I would want you in my chat, because that would make voices breaking. See, I'm emotional about this pick. I wouldn't just be talking about, I wouldn't be talking to you or anything like if I thought this was pointless. Because I don't like to waste my breath. I'm an asshole. I'm a blunt asshole. And if someone is annoying, irritating, I just pay no attention. So like I don't see the point. And I want to see, you'll see me continuously asking. I just don't want it to come off as that's the only reason why I talk to you, because I feel like to a lot of people, especially with someone your size, I feel like it can come off as that. But I really do just repeat things a lot. Let me see what else has been said. Cool. No, I was on Duolingo. I was going on YouTube for music. Then I see your stream. Thank you for joining, Coop. And is someone to somebody. That's true. Bit of a cliche, but I guess it's a cliche because it's true. But then again, is it true? I feel it. I don't know for sure. You're definitely going to be someone in a few years based on your education aspirations and elite intelligence and a bonus top tier physical looks. Thank you. Pick, just imagine if you were to sub count and someone with a channel your size had the opportunity to shout you out. Pick, I'm sure you've been around YouTube for a while, and any help you could give her, someone who works her ass off talking about her passions would really go a long way. Honestly, yeah. Dude, why'd you retract your message, Macabre? I was gonna comment on it. Well, I was gonna say that it was nice and I thought that I appreciated it, and I remember the message. If you want me to comment on it, Macabre, let me know. If not, then alright. But yeah, I really like Pick, if you're still here. Yeah, same. I'm curious why you check. Pick, if you're still here, I'm curious, why are you interested in my streams? And like, because I genuinely wondered, like, why someone, how you came upon me, and why you stuck around and like have come by so many streams. And I want you to know that I appreciate the fact that you just stopped by because, like, you're a larger creator and you could stop by either way, but also the fact that you just at least chime in to say hello, even if it's a really quick, like, hi bye situation. You don't have to, and it's really cool for someone with like a really small sub count. Let me set aside, I feel like I spent too much time because it's taking me longer to talking about like asking for shout out, but like it said in the comments, like, it really would go a long way and mean a lot. But the point that I want to say is also just, you're drunk. I don't know, listen to some really hyped up music or something, because this could go one of two ways considering the fact that you were under the influence in terms of your mood. And I'm just genuinely interested in what the fuck is entertaining about me whatsoever. You know, genuinely for a while I was wondering if he was watching me, like, checking if I was, like, a predator online or something, because I was doing so many streams, I was like, "Pick keeps showing up. Pick is such a big YouTuber. Is he here because he wants to double check or something?" Like, I knew I didn't do anything, and I obviously know that I'm not, but I was just like, that was the only way that my brain was, like, figuring out why Pick would actually be here. But yeah, Pick, I don't even know much about you, and I don't think you're a nobody. And also, you can only be a nobody if you're caring about what somebody thinks, because you can't be a nobody to yourself. So whoever it is that's making you feel like a nobody, fuck that. I'm not one to talk about this stuff, to be honest, but as a psych student, like, if you feel like you're a nobody, is it? I wish he was still here because I am guessing he's gone by now, but like, I'm curious what it would be like. Pick, if you see this later, I'd love to have a discussion about this because I do have some understanding about like development, and like, I at the very least can implement the knowledge of a third year psych student on oh, you're still here. Okay, I was talking about you slash at you. Oh, let me see. Yeah, I remember that was why you thought Pick would show up occasionally. Yeah. You got Instagram? Um, not really, because I didn't want to, because a lot of people are toxic with that. I do have a Twitter, but I don't use it. But I have a Patreon, and that's my, because I didn't really use any type of social media at all because I was like, well, firstly, this looks like a lot to keep up with and unnecessary. And secondly, it looks like most people are saying it's bad for their mental health, and mine's already fucked. So my main like platforms are YouTube and Patreon, and I guess Twitter. All of them are Electra Solstice at Electra Solstice. Pretty much anything and everything for me is Electra Solstice. It's just about what's connected to this channel. If you care to join, by the way, after this stream, there will be a stream that's Patreon exclusive. It's like $5 and you can stay on there for like 5 hours and we sit with candles with my ghetto setup. But damn it, I really need Instagram. Apparently that's a thing. I do have an Instagram. I'm just having a moment of like, people I know are on there. But also, I feel like people I know could find me anyways. One of the first Patreon only streams was 11 hours. Yep, 11 hours. I mean, 7 straight hours of content. After that, it was just Lou and I left, and we both passed out like at the same time almost. And I ended up waking up later to see that it was 11 hours, and I was like, dude, the fuck? I was on the carpet for like a few hours. I probably still have oh, that's why I probably got a bunch of acne. I got like rug burn, but in acne form. Well, pick an ounce when you're here, I guess. Damn it. I'm having like an extreme mental conflict. I'm having an extreme mental conflict because I have an Instagram and I figure may as well let people know, but also like I want everyone to know everything about me. I feel like making, you know what? I have the perfect idea. Well, is it though? To Instagram or to not Instagram? That is the question. Honestly, when you're autistic and also very private and have an Arab side of the family, it's part of it's kind of like also, do I want certain people to see some of the stuff that I post? But also, wouldn't they have seen it by now? But also, I don't know how these things work. Because it's like I've got a following, and what's annoying is that it's like, wait, you could always erase your photos from your old one or stuff that's too personal. Then again, everything else. Well, it's not actually nothing to do with anything that's on my Instagram. Literally none of it. Because I know the internet is forever. I haven't posted a single thing that I don't recognize is going to be there forever. It's mainly about like the people on my account, like people who follow me. And it's like I'd be fine with most of them, except some of them. I feel like wait, do I even need to worry? Okay, actually, I might be fine. I apologize very much. I am just trying to double check because I might be able to finally put up an Instagram. Oh, you don't want to mix your YouTube life and your personal life? Well, the thing is like, I feel like inevitably you end up mixing the two. Like, can you ever keep them separate? Like, no matter how much you try, like, then when it comes to social media, like, you can keep them separate for sure to the best of your abilities. But I feel like it'd be very difficult to have, like, a personal life social media that wouldn't be in any way of like able to be accessed by your followers. I don't know how to do all this. I don't know what the YouTube's is supposed to include, how to do the YouTubes. This has also ended up being an all over the place discussion, and we're already at an hour and 12 minutes. Damn, okay, we're everywhere. It's literally like on my Instagram, actually, it's like less than like max 3 people that I wouldn't want to know about things, and they may already know. Be different because I wouldn't necessarily be updating on my YouTube channel there. I have to consider it. I wonder if Pick was around for all that conflict. I don't know, maybe the internal conflict was just too much to handle. Okay. You've gotten to see your psychology in action throughout the stream. Don't know which part of it, but I'm glad you managed to find it. Let's go into what's in the title, which I actually did discuss earlier about like the complexes versus disorders type of thing. That relates to the whole there being different forms of like publications or studies, or there years ago that people like Freud and such were like the big, what do they call it? Like, is this too loud? What is it when you say you got big kahunas? Kahunas? I don't know. I'm probably saying that wrong, horribly wrong, but either way. So I'm going to be like half sorting mail and then half also pointing towards my DSM. But okay, good. It's not too loud. Because, we just have to waste so much paper on an entire thing about like home improvement that we didn't want. Like we literally didn't at all or insinuate it or anything. Big cojones means you have large testicles. I know, I was just wondering if I was pronouncing it right. Haven't you heard like when people say like they're the big That's the big cojones. Are those the big cojones, like the big shots? At least I've heard that being used, that saying. And obviously I wouldn't have known ahead of time, so must have heard it somewhere. Then again, with mother, there's a lot of old sayings that I hear. Should I keep anything within this, like home improvement magazine? I doubt it. So let's, as I look through this, discuss some of the stuff. No one who actually speaks Spanish uses that saying, by the way. Oh, I figure not. They don't. I figured it's just like a saying, kind of like, you know, birds of feather flock together doesn't usually come up in casual conversation. All right, so we go to the conditions for further study section, which is basically the section of we thought about it and our conclusion was, I don't know, but maybe. So we decided to put an entire section of this in the DSM, which, to be fair, I can kind of understand because you are like changing a bunch of shit while you're going through this. But at the same time, some of it is kind of like, do you need to include it? Should it even be there in the in the first place? Why didn't you already research it? I think it really depends on which particular disorder it is, or and how they're approaching it. Because I think in another live, I don't know if it was a private, I don't think it was, but it was mentioning like one of the criticisms of it, the DSM-5, I believe it was the fifth one, or it was the DSM recent one, was that it was just getting to be too specific. There was just too much, like unique tree service. Is there a mundane tree service? Yes, I'd like to have my hedges trimmed in the most boring manner possible. Please make sure that it does not elicit any form of excitement by any passerbyers. I just do not feel comfortable with anyone getting any type of excitement past my house. I don't know. Just some of these things, like titles, are really funny. Like, don't agonize, organize. Why can't I do both? Smart garage. Why can't I do both? I mean, I've tried to just organize, but usually that ends up in agony. And whenever I agonize, obviously my first thought is to organize. Winter is finally here. We say in January in California. Are we sure? As far as I know, wait, no one. It's a necessity. Maybe for some, like, we should make a vision board on the channel. Just like how French people probably don't go around saying sacré. Right, they pronounce it sacré bleu. I know how to pronounce it, but my throat can't do it right now. I just need to know the order. It's like if you weren't pronouncing it with the accent, it would be sacré. So it would be sacré, right? Sacré bleu. I need to know like exactly how they say it. Because obviously I can say for certain that I'm at the very least not at the level of saying sacré bleu. Okay. Was the DSM-5 released about the same space between DSM-4? What do you mean? The DSM-5 was released in 2013. I believe it was released. It took between the fourth and the fifth, I believe it was 14 years. I think. But I'm not entirely sure. Let me double check. Thank you for bringing me back on topic a little bit. Unique tree service is their mundane tree. That is a good quote, I guess. And when I agonize, obviously my first thought is to organize. Of course, isn't that what mindfulness is today? I think. Okay, I'm checking on the DSM-4 and 5 differences. Firstly, okay, one good idea would be to just years between DSM-4 and 5. Another thing they were saying that they changed is from the Latin numerals to just the Arabic numerals, aka what English uses. DSM history. This is the, this is the APA, or the American Psychiatric Association. Association. That word. They have, oh, lovely. There's a section on post-World War and pre-World War. Okay. Let me see. Beginning of 2000, work groups were formed to create research agenda for the fifth major revision of the DSM-5. These work groups generated hundreds of white pages, monographs, blah, 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 blah. In 2007, the APA formed the DSM-5 task force, 13 group as well, revising the manual, as well as 13 work groups focusing on various disorder areas. DSM-5 was published in 2013. When was DSM-4 published? DSM-4. I can't see the chat, by the way. That's why I'm not responding to it. Oh, I'm trying to see the DSM-4, please. Okay. Let's see. The DSM-4 was released the latest edition still is the DSM-5, but usually they do have like things in between. Okay, well, where there's a pre-DSM? I really want to get like the ICD, but I wonder if the ICD is going to come out soon. Okay, so the DSM-4, the DSM-3R, which is revised. All right, let's just go with DSM-1 was 1952. DSM-2 was 1968. By the way, I'm not including any of the in-between stuffs, like the revisions or stuff like that, which are important parts, but I'm just trying to get the big blocks of time. DSM-3 was 1980. DSM-3, 3 revised. They made a bold title, which is 1987. I'm reading that because that's a pretty short time period. And then we have between DSM-3, DSM-4, DSM-4 was released in 1994. DSM-3 was released in before any revisions, it was released in 1980. So that would be 14 years, assuming I'm not making any like mistakes. And then the DSM, my bad. Wait, okay. DSM-3 published. DSM-4 1994, right? Majority of the text was... Okay, so there was like a revised version, like that was released in 2000. And that was consistent with ICD-9. I know ICD-10 was there with DSM. DSM-5 was 2013, like I said. May 18th, 2013. You know what I kind of want to do is look up the exact date of when, like, kind of try to piece together the timeline of my diagnoses, because, like, the diagnoses that were leading up to what I've got now, because the things, because it becomes a bit complicated when you were like right in between the time frames. Let me check the chat. All right. I never knew Arabic numerals were 1, 2, 3. Wonder how many racist hicks would feel knowing that they use Arabic numerals every day. Can they, like, I didn't even know if they could spell or read. Can they, are we sure they can even try to do math? Like, that's about how they write it. That's not about how they say it. Just saying. I'm saying if we're going by the stereotype, do we know a guarantee that they can actually... I'll leave it there. Oh, the World War split makes sense. In psychology, a lot of experiments took place during World War II. That does make sense. And the effects of the war was felt by many, psychologically. Yeah. God, I wonder how much just false and unproven info in the DSM-2. DSM-4 to 5 was 17 years. We're talking about 4 to 5 without the revised version, right? I think it would be cool video to read and discuss, potentially laugh at some of the older editions of the DSM. Honestly, I kind of want to do that. Hell no, I don't use no damn terrorist numbers. What I just said was from my chat. And it is my opinion that I think that that is rather funny. Actually, fuck this. I'm half Arab, okay? Like, regardless of what this may make you think, I am actually half Arab. "17 years, no revised." Okay. 13 with the 2000 edition. Okay, yeah, but that's with the revised. I think they have a DSM-5 revised version. So if we're going from 2013, then sadly, we have to wait. If we go by that amount of time, at a minimum, if we go with like the... Wait, how long was it? Wait, 13 with the 2000 edition. What do you mean with? How can it be longer without the revised than with the revised? Am I missing something? I think you'll be in med school by the time DSM-6 comes out. Yeah, but at the very least, I hope that I won't have been, like, of course I'll be learning a lot of stuff like later, but what I very much dislike is when people, why did they? All right, so this tiling company decided to call themselves after the Book of Genesis. At least I'm assuming that based on the fact that they call themselves Genesis. Genesis Stoneworks. Highly experienced design professionals. Well, I mean, we were created in. No, okay, I'm not going to go into blasphemy just to make jokes. I'm sorry. It's a good one if I could have said it. Wood slabs for sale. I guess what else would you call it? But oh, there's a cute little truck. Just trying to avoid doxing anything near myself. Look at the cute little truck. Isn't the truck cute? Does anybody want to crowdfund with the PayPal, where I'll literally provide proof with the fact that I'll have bought the actual DSMs? If we see how much, maybe starting with the DSM-1, let's see how much that costs. It is a day, isn't it? Sure. Well, it's longer without the revised. Besides, it's older, so there's a greater time without a new DSM. Yeah. Okay, maybe I'm misinterpreting. My brain is working slower. Oh, okay. Now I get what you're saying. If we're counting just from the very beginning, it's 17 years. If we count like from the revised version onward, from like revised until the next DSM, then it would be 13 years, correct? Damn, that joke. Damn, that joke is lost to the sands of time, I guess. Honestly, yeah, it is. It was a good one. See if there's any more funny things. Dude, this is the second time you're advertising that wood slabs are for sale. At least I think it is. Is it? If it's the second time, again with the unique. Oh, okay, no. Never mind. My bad. I just had this bent the wrong way. This isn't ARP. I think that's what I've known to call ARP, the thing for old people. This is A in italics, PR. All pro remodeling. So be careful. Instead of getting all of your senior benefits, you may end up with a new linoleum floor in your kitchen. Specialized tree works and landscape. What is with this specialized tree stuff? I do not live in the middle of the forest. Like, oh, there was a nursery. I thought they were talking about like one with babies and shit. Never mind. Knowledgeable staff, great selection. As opposed to our staff doesn't know much about any of this. Just to let you know, bring your own Wikipedia pages when you come in and prepare for idiocy at the door. Speaking of which, iron door shop. Do you specifically need an iron door or sliding door repair? Don't struggle. I'm sorry, but this is just beautiful to have like a. I know it ruins it by writing stuff in the star, but like just for it to be a a giant star that says, "Don't struggle," while opening and closing your sliding door. I think I'm gonna cut. Okay, so the sliding door that we have often like has its issues for some reason. I'm gonna cut this out and just like leave this as just a little Easter egg for the parents when they come back. Damn it. Okay, we're almost there. Fine. Also, there's randomly a child there for some reason. Obviously, I send my 2-year-old to check if the sliding glass door is working properly. Or, wait, how old would they look? Excuse me, potentially, what's that, 6 or 7? Hold on. Satisfaction guaranteed. As long as you don't struggle. Correct. Okay, so correct as in about my understanding of the timeline between the DSMs. I think I'll probably retitle this to Brief Psych Discussion. Well, no, we've still got half an hour. Apparently, children are only a struggle when they open sliding glass doors, because that's when they're struggling. Never mind. Artificial turf cleaning. Things just are so funny out of context. I thought of that. Sorry. Just hiccups. I hate hiccups. Ooh, remind me. Story about hiccups for the Patreon Live. I would put it on the mobile, but the only issue I have is that it's like not, it's really thin. I would need this shit like fucking laminated. Is that what they call it in America? Yeah, laminated. So instead, I'm going to tape it to the side of the glass, the sliding glass door. That is how confident I am in the fact that none of my family watches my videos. But honestly, thank God. At least my immediate. I don't want any of my family to watch my videos. What YouTuber ever have I met that's like, well, maybe, I guess, I'm not sure. So, are we going to talk about stuff in the DSM, or should the title just be changed from here on out? I feel like I want to, even if it's a little off track or later in the video. It's still worth it. We can revisit the topic more in depth. But I want to address it because I haven't been talking about as many psych topics, which is part of what I am studying and part of what I love. Like, I'm not a social media person. I am a person who views themselves to be an artist. I'm not looking at the chat, sorry. I'm trying to cut this thing out, and it's just getting worse and worse the more I try. And never mind, I just realized I am so stupid. You know what I can do? I can just cut this out in a way where it'll look like it's somewhat of a circle. Or at the very least, it's disappointing in what it currently does look like. Almost done. Sorry. Are you specifically getting the whole like, ouch. Let me see. It always looks like I'm picking my nose. It's really itchiness. Sorry about the hiccups. Not something I thought would warrant a story, but I'm intrigued. Remind me later. Thank God you don't make content that your family wants to view. I would timestamp I could timestamp the Psych talk. Thank you. We can don't mind just timestamping what each section was. Like roughly, obviously. There'd be way too many. There was like a brief just I forget if it was which are updates or what they were, whatever they were. I'll talk to you more about that on the Patreon live. Damn it, could you fucking hell. Okay. Yeah. Because there's potentially a nursery. I really need plants. I also don't want to imagine I box myself via plant nursery. What a way to get exposed. Well, it would, but only if it were like laminated. I would need something else to go on the mobile. Roommate was saying that the sponges should be painted, and I before had cut them into shapes, so I could cut them into shapes. I kind of want to take down the snowflakes, like it's still winter time, and the tree is still up, but I'm not sure. It keeps falling everywhere. Okay. Arts and craft autistic chill chat. Honestly, this may be mail sorting, arts and crafts, and mild psych discussion. It's kind of a chill chat. My videos don't get as much traction, but for some reason my lives do, which is kind of counterintuitive in terms of the way, like, how many times, like, generally, even from creators people like, they don't always watch the live streams. Maybe from now on we should start timestamping things in the live streams. That might make it something like people might want to watch more. What do you think? Someone could make out your info from that garbage. They should put their talent used to work for the CIA. I think your lives have more views because people coming in and out passing through. I would agree, except for the fact that the views like usually double within the 24-hour period after. Nah, I don't. So, like, it would make sense, but generally, it doesn't end up much more than max 20 during the stream. It's after where it can get as high as it does. Okay, that's good. If you don't mind doing timestamps, that would be very much appreciated. I have more to talk about when it comes to social media and stuffs. But anyways, back to this, which we can now timestamp. The conditions for further study. I mentioned it before. Basically, we're considering them, but we haven't done enough research by now. This book, probably, I envision them being like, dude, this book has taken us already like a decade, or almost 2 decades to make. We're kind of tired. Can we please put something out there? We can wait about the attenuated psychosis syndrome later. Just thought just realized syndrome versus disorder versus disease. All of those are like definitions, but a syndrome is different. I think they have to do with lengths. I think I'd learn this more when it comes to the diagnostic stuff, when I study more about diagnostics. But let me read more about this, just because of how important it is to know, because I'm not a clinician and this isn't even meant to be used for clinicians. I already gave that disclaimer earlier though, but for those who didn't see it, basically, not a professional. Further disclaimer is earlier in the video. Let me see the conditions for further they call this whole section conditions for further study. So it's essentially proposed disorder categories or syndromes. They have syndromes. Basically it's a bunch of different things, like how, for example, they changed the light after I moved it. It is causing way too much of a distract. Like, I can't. Okay, better. Let me see. I think 20 live viewers. They call it playbacks. I think that's like a playback could even be if you just like go in and out or refresh your page. I'm not sure what it would be. But anyways, while I'm keeping my train of thought regarding this. So what was I saying? Well, okay. Brief history of the DSM. Let's start with that. And I'm researching this and finding out much of the whole ideas about it while I talk to you. So I said earlier, a little brief history about the timelines. It was apparently okay. I think this all, like all the stuff that the where these are like put together, it comes from the APA, or the American Psychiatric Association, kind of like the AMA, the American Medical Association. Not to be confused with, I think, what is an awards ceremony. And with DSMs, there are often revisions, and there are subtypes to like tag-along type, kind of like, when you get like a book, textbook, and there's a workbook to go along with it. Well, I saw that there's like something that's like a diagnoses thing. I've seen stuff like that, but I do know there are revised versions. And in relation, important point is that there's something called the ICD. The ICD is essentially the international version. So the way I think of it in my head is metric versus the metric system would be the ICD, and the whatever the stupid American system is that literally pretty much only America really relies upon. Okay, let me see. Just not mix this up. Okie dokie. So the ICD is the international. Yeah, okay. So it's international, meaning it would be globally accepted. So let me try to move my live here so I can still see the chat. Syndromes and diagnosis. Wait, good numbers nonetheless. They are good numbers. And then afterwards, there will be more views. So this is very brief information, by the way. Any information that I'm saying is just like what I'm learning literally as I go, and in combination with previous knowledge. I do know The difference is that the DSM is basically the Bible of the psychiatry stuffs and diagnoses, but more essentially used in America because its basis of creation comes from the APA or American Psychiatric Association. So it makes sense. Then we have the ICD, which is the International Classification of Diseases, is globally accepted. And I'm reading this from Healthcare EPO, but I really just want to know its basic definition anyways. People should on Wikipedia. Yes, it is the information comes from multiple sources, but in some cases it can be useful. One of the useful things that comes between these things is that learn with me. That's a brilliant thing. We're going to have either learn with me or study with me. Maybe my true crime content will be find out about the crime with me so you can react to it along with me. In any case, what I was thinking with the ICD thing is the one I'm still reading from is worldsolutions.com. Healthcare BP. I don't know how. Okay, let me just look it up on. Oh, I just realized something interesting, I think. Yes, before the DSM, there was census data report, American Psychiatric Association Manual, 1917, Medical 203, which is 1943. This is all coming from Wikipedia, by the way. This is World War II saw large-scale involvement in U.S. psychiatry in selection, processing, assessment, and treatment of soldiers, etc. So the ICD, think of it like how we have, just so I don't misspeak. The CDC is for America, right? Yeah, it's National Public Health thing in America. So think of if I could, in a very, very strange and kind of stretched out analogy, DSM equals CDC, ICD equals WHO, World Health Organization. I figure that can be relatable right now due to everything that we're experiencing. Save the page, don't worry. Using scissors, of course. The Medical 203. That's interesting. Of course, it has a lot to do with the war, blah, blah, blah. The International Statistical Classification of Diseases, that's the ICD. It's a globally used diagnostic tool for epidemiology. Epidemiology is the study of the exact definition that I'm reading here is the study or analysis of distribution patterns, determines like that. But when they say epidemiology, for example, if you're saying epidemiological type of thing, that's where you get those tree designs of stuff, when you'll have here's one idea and then it goes to this and then each one of these has two of their own. That would be what epidemiology would study. It's studying that type of thing, the classification type of stuff. And so for the ICD, it's for diagnostic, epidemiology, health management, and clinical purposes. Maintained by the WHO, the World Health Organization, which is the directing, coordinating authority for health within the United Nations system. So I'm not going to go into a bunch about that specifically. What I'm curious about, I'm gonna find out with you is this actually, does this include like, is this only, I wonder like, is this just like the DSM where it's mental disorders, or is it all diseases? Oh, wait, okay. The ICD is a major project to statistically classify all health disorders and provide diagnostic assistance. The ICD is a core is a core statistically based classificatory diagnostic system for healthcare related issues, which kind of makes sense of why they would say it has to do with epidemiology, because of epidemiology being defined as the study analysis of distribution or patterns of health and disease conditions in defined populations. Okay, let me correct myself. Epidemiology is not just the study of the things like this, it's specifically within the health and humans stuff. So it's not just the general concept of it. And it has to do with the disease conditions defined by populations. So lots of statistical stuff and relations and blah, 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 blah. Essentially, just this is not exactly a summary. This is partially a learn with me, I guess. Maybe including that in the title or somewhat. I'm creating all sorts of my own stuff, but the ICD is like the DSM, except it's got a lot more other stuff. And I saw that there was something else that I might want to look at about that is beyond just the ICD. But one thing that both of them use is codes. The codes are basically people love to add things to numerical value. Basically, kind of like I understand in a sense. It's like you need a page number to find a specific thing. So, for example, there will be like a code number for histrionic personality disorder, which part of it would be 301.50F64. I'm so familiar with the way the ICD codes look. F70, F71, F72. Okay, sorry. I'm not as familiar with the way the codes are oriented exactly, but basically it's like serial numbers, except like it'll be like, hey, this serial number corresponds to this serial number between the DSM and the ICD. There are slight differences in the diagnostic criteria and stuff like that, but I just think the way that they have these things is very interesting. As usual, America's just like, we want our own. We need our own book, though. I kind of like having the separated thing, but I'm guessing, considering that the ICD is supposed to have all health conditions, I'm guessing there are separated editions. Let me see. That was a good learn with me. Which thing was? I hope it's been good because I don't want to like take too long. I grasp things fairly quickly, and I'm trying to like go with stuff I already know about. Is the DSM revised just a small packet, or is it the same level of depth as the regular DSM? Well, the DSM revised, to my knowledge, basically is just like, here's the DSM, just with we tweaked it a little bit. Here's the post editing editing version, basically. Like, we're adjusting some of the things of the diagnostic criteria, but it'll usually not entail too much. And if you look it up, you'll see what the differences are, or the main things in the revised version. America has an individuality complex. Is that actually a thing? I feel like complex you can put before anything, like Ladle complex. What would a Ladle complex be? Just need to scoop everything. You have a deep hatred of shovels because you think that ladles are much more efficient. Although, who would be using either for the same task? Anyways, I feel like this one will be about this psych chat seems to be more about like just what the DSM is, this basic history of and how it works, and the ICD and that. And it's actually fascinating how it works and how they kind of created these manuals. And no, you cannot simplify a human being mental disorders into a book, but it still is like interesting and makes sense that there will be some sort of like just like reference. You want a frame of reference. I also found something that was interesting, which was there's a section on other conditions that may be a focus of other mental disorders. Okay, 4 disorders are included in this chapter. Okay, we're doing a real learn with me with this one. This looks fascinating, but I'm not sure what it is. Let me check the chat. A ladle complex would be someone having the urge to be used as a pointer and being put in hair. The urge to do anything but scoop. So basically, do anything except you. The purpose of which society has stuck upon you, or the purpose that you were assumed to have been created for. Wouldn't that essentially be a killer? Again, real dark, real fast. But like, humans are here, like, you put people's out to procreate. Literally isn't a killer. Like, really, look, I watch a lot of true crime. Anyway, so this is the other mental disorders section, which it says 4 disorders are included in this chapter. Other specified mental disorder due to another medical condition. Okay, I'll just give a disclaimer. This is all based on my understanding, but I have a bit more than a layman, but not as much of a clinician. I'm a 3rd-year psych student. Take what you may, I'm more knowledgeable than a ladle, at least. When it comes to this, I am definitely not as good at scooping soup. But anyways, a killer would have the ladle complex only if you see the purpose. Only if you see the purpose of life is to repopulate. True. That's another discussion, though. Okay, so when they say like an unspecified mental disorder due to another medical condition, what they usually mean is like, for example, you're getting psychosis, but it's due to some other specific neurological condition, or you're getting that's why a lot of diagnoses will say can't and cannot be better explained by something else like Parkinson's or Huntington's or not necessarily neurological, like one of those types of things, genetic disorders or neurological disorders, stuff like that. So that's what that would be. So it would be the mental disorder wouldn't necessarily be specified, but they would know what there would be another medical condition involved. Anyway, let's see. Other specified mental disorder due to another medical condition. Unspecified mental disorder due to another medical condition. So this one, we don't know what the mental disorder is. Okay, so number 1, we have a specific mental disorder, but it's due to a specific medical condition. Second one is we don't have it's a mental disorder, but not a specified one, that mental disorder that is due to another medical condition. The third one is other specified mental disorder. So another type of specified mental disorder. I'll have to look into that to see exactly what they mean by that. But it would be, I mean, I can't really go beyond explain another specified mental disorder. Um, uh, and unspecified mental disorder. So we've got the ones that are specified that are caused by a known medical condition, uh, and then the ones that are unspecified with a specified medical condition, or a specified mental disorder with an unspecified medical condition. All these mixes and matches, and this residual category applies to presentations in which symptoms characteristic of mental disorders that cause clinically significant distress. A very important part, by the way, is like anybody can have anxiety, but in order for it to be something to be considered a disorder, it has to reach a clinical level. You can have subclinical symptoms, subclinical experiences, stuff like that, but it has to reach a clinical level of distress, clinical presentation, essentially. Does the DSM-5 talk about gender dysphoria? Sorry, I don't think you saw my initial chat about that. Oh, I don't think I did, but yes, it does. Yeah, I didn't see that top part about it, but yes, it does talk about it. I've actually been thinking about having that as its own like live, because it's an interesting topic to discuss. So for this section, it talks about how I'm going to go through these other mental disorder things, and then how a few other things. But I don't think I'll be going in as much of the conditions for further study yet, because I am getting a bit tired, but I definitely want to finish this part. Gender dysphoria is a topic that definitely to be explored in a full live. Definitely. I want a full live on that. I think it's a very fascinating thing to discuss, especially when you're talking about gender dysphoria or gender versus gender dysphoric disorder versus, just that whole thing. Can be controversial from as little subscribers as possible. Wait, message. I have to answer. I forgot. Scalp cam. Okie dokie. So. Oh no, the goggles covered the scalp cam. This is more of a jungle of blue and black hair cam. Okay, this is into the jungle cam. We got you choose goggle cam or jungle cam. I feel like goggle cam sounds better. I've also been wondering, like, what everybody calls their fan base something, and I feel like literally only for the point of practicality. That and it's fun to have a name for you all instead of saying you all the time. Okay. So, other specified mental disorder due to another medical condition. This would be when the characteristics of a mental disorder due to another medical condition cause clinically significant distress or impairment, etc., but they don't meet the full criteria for any specific mental disorder attributable to another medical condition. So, and then it says the other specified mental disorder due to medical condition category is used in situations in which clinician chooses to communicate the specific reason that the presentation does not meet the criteria for any specific mental disorder attributed to another medical condition. Specific etiological medical condition instead of place of another medical. Wait, let me see. So essentially in this one is that there's the mental disorder that is, so there's the symptoms, characteristics of a mental disorder caused by another medical condition. So we've got medical condition, symptoms, and or mental disorder, or just the symptoms of it. But these symptoms aren't specified, so they may not meet the criteria to be able, basically they won't be meeting the criteria to meet one of the things that is in the book, and they're also caused by the other medical conditions. So we've got unspecified. We're like, you don't quite meet this, but you got this, but we're not sure about what to put you under. Like you check off a lot of boxes in a lot of places, but we don't know which thing exactly, which big box you check off of, or which box you go into categorization wise from a pragmatic point of view. The octopuses, the spoons, the bottomless pit, whatever you choose to call us. It better be awesome. The ladies, I thought it was the ladies. I was like, ladies, isn't that what they call titties? Like, I've got my own ladies already. The ladles, maybe. Or the ladlettes. But that's kind of a mouthful. Those are two good bars to have. If you don't meet one, why would they meet the other? If they don't meet one, why would they meet the other? What do you mean? Let me write down what you mean. I'm going to just double check something like from the reading. It says like the other specified mental disorder due to another medical condition category is used in situations which clinician chooses to communicate the specific reason presentation does not meet the criteria of a specific mental disorder attributable to another medical condition. This is done by recording the name of the disorder with the specific etiological medical condition inserted in place of other medical condition, followed by specific symptomatic manifestation. Furthermore, the diagnostic specific thing, for example, Okay, now I understand this a bit more. So this would be kind of like when, if there was a case, from my understanding, would be like if there's a case of a clinician doesn't want to say you've got this disorder, doesn't and but it's like you've got this medical situation going on, and let's set aside differentiate between like let's set aside the fact that the mental illness is still medical things, but like you got this one medical, this one mental. Now this one medical is causing this one mental. This one mental doesn't quite fit the boxes, as I said, but also like the clinician doesn't want to call it what it would fit theoretically on the outside because it would be more in relation to that to it. And so instead of being like dissociative, so for example, you could say like dissociative disorder, or which disorder is it? Make sure I don't mess it up. Never hear the end of it, and I do a lot of lives, so I'm bound to mess something up, but I'm trying to avoid it when I can. So for example, if we were supposed to say that somebody had, like, okay, you've got delusional disorder. Or you've got delusional disorder, which is presenting itself with dissociative symptoms or whatever, dissociative identity, whatever you want to call it, that's something that relates to dissociation and to disorder. Instead of calling it a disorder, you'll be like, this has dissociative symptoms. Or instead of like saying, for example, you have brief psychotic disorder, you have brief psychotic symptoms due to this medical illness. So you won't have brief psychotic disorder and this medical illness. You'll have brief psychotic symptoms or brief psychosis, or aka acute psychosis or psychotic symptoms. There'll be another term for it. And the example given here was dissociative. That's why I was trying to find that. But anyways, dissociative symptoms due to complex partial seizures, aka you're having trouble. You get a bunch of dissociative symptoms because after a bunch of seizures. So instead of them saying you got like this mental disorder and this thing, it's you've got another medical condition which is causing this psychiatric or mental disorder thing, but you don't quite meet this thing, and we don't want to call you that thing. So it's kind of, this is a section of basically semantics, which is annoying to deal with, but you kind of need to do. And I do think that the semantics can help a lot with understanding what you're dealing with. It's just also difficult because you need to make sure that everybody's in agreement, and then there's, things can get complicated. I can't tell if that's an I. The laddies? I didn't say laddies. Titties are called laddies. Wait, no. Those are two good bars to, oh wait. They're called like, the ladies. You've never heard that saying? And they'll be like, yeah, the ladies. Well, you were talking about how they check off boxes of one mental disorder, but don't check off the big one. You shouldn't mix them up by labeling them something they aren't. The semantics section. I guess, sure, this is my semi-layman's version of the semantics section of, because a lot of it is, this is specified and unspecified and semi, like, might as well just like have a meter of specification, or you've got three like SPs or specification points. So here we've got unspecified mental disorder due to another medical condition. Thought that was the other. That's what we just did. Excuse me. This was other specified mental disorder due to another medical condition. Now we have unspecified mental disorder due to another medical condition. This is more of a try to understand with me. This category applies to the presentation in which symptoms characteristic of a mental disorder due to other medical condition cause clinically significant distress or impairment, but do not meet the full criteria of specific mental disorder due to another medical condition. Okay, so this is the one where they're saying, like, you know how we've got the one where it's a mental problem, where it's a medical, because there's also the category of, we don't know what it is, but it's a mental disorder. So an unspecified mental disorder due to a medical condition. Now we have unspecified one, where we don't know what it is, but it's caused by another medical disorder. So we're like, this is caused by some medical shit, but we don't know which mental shit it is. This other one, we're like, we know which mental shit it is, and we know which medical shit is causing it. And there's the other one where they're like, this one doesn't quite meet the whole, like, this is a big, big, big mental shit, but it's like mental shit, shitling, or here's the little shit babies, and those are aka the symptoms, and so we'll say that they're the symptoms that'll be attributed due to this medical shits, not the mental shits, the medical shits, but they're mental shit babies. Did any of that make sense? I hope so. Oddly, I feel like I was the most articulate just then. Let's see. Explained like a true medical scholar. Thank you. That's going to be great for a future employer to see. I swear I can do better. I'm learning too. Like, no, but seriously, did that actually help with the explanation? I'm trying to like simplify it, and cursing is cathartic. So people kill birds with stones to do things and multitask, right? So this is it's used in situations when the clinician chooses not to specify the reason that the criteria are not met, for which the insufficient information to make the more specific diagnosis, e.g., in emergency room settings. So basically, this will be like when a clinician is like, we don't want to have to explain why it doesn't meet the things. It doesn't meet all of the requirements to equal the mental shits. And it can also be insufficient information for a more specific diagnosis for later. And this is done by recording the name of the disorder with the specific etiological medical condition inserted, place another medical condition. Like the basically you put the name of the disorder, then the name of the medical disorder, or the one that's not mental. This again, we're assuming medical and mental are separate, but just for the sake of the conversation, because they most definitely are not, but you get what I mean. Furthermore, the diagnostic code for a specific medical condition must be listed immediately before the code. Okay, this part a lot of it where it's specifying like this is how we do the code and talk about the code and write about the code. I'm just now realizing I'm gonna have to do a lot of that, aren't I? I'm gonna write down things in people's files. Well, I wonder what it'll be like actually. But in any case, a lot more of it has to do with also just like what's on file and how we're going to categorize them on file and file their specific disorder. But I think this is also interesting and more of an obscure part of the DSM to talk about because it's like also part of what probably a lot of diagnoses them. I'm just guessing off the top of my head is like it mentioned emergency situations. That's probably because you've got to guess. And then also be doctors that aren't specialized in it will be like, all right, this person with a bunch of who's having these partial complex seizures is getting this symptom. What if they don't visit a psychiatrist? It's just interesting. Let me check the chat. Yeah, that helped. Okay, I'm glad because I felt like before that it was a bit confusing even for me to keep up with. I guess the cursing just helps. I don't think cussing is that big of a deal these days, which I kind of is that big of a deal these days, which I kind of don't dig. What do you mean? Oh wait, I don't need the skin doctor telling me to take my fucking pills to clear my shitty ass skin. That's why I think like it's fair enough to work on making sure your children don't like get used to saying it because you don't want it to be an automatic thing so that in any situation you'll just naturally be like, yeah, hand me the fucking salt. But it can be cathartic and it can be funny. And it's a good point. I will not exactly be going to my patients and tell them, you know what, I know how shit depression is. How about you take some fucking happy pills and hope for the best, man? You don't know what shit life is gonna throw at you. It fucking sucks. So you eat shit and you keep your head down and you hope you don't die. And just remember, don't do it yourself. I don't know. That would be the that would be the worst clinic. Imagine that as a clinic. I should probably stop talking at this point because my brain's all over the place. Now we finish up with other specified mental disorder. This like name fascinates me because it's like this is another. It's like other specified mental disorder, but we don't want to tell you what it is. Like it's just funny the way it's stated. It's like, why is this even a necessary category? Like, shouldn't they just specify it if it's another specified thing? Life is decent. It's not subjective. The clinic would produce a high suicide. Well, that's not the clinic. That's certainly not the clinic I intend to run. Or if I actually run one. Turned out like most of the people that I have in my life now, like from my youth, actually stayed friends with or stopped, then became friends with again within the medical field and kind of just want to like the ultimate collab of it's not just a collab, it's a business venture, but also, you know, well, potentially. It depends on what I go into. Like if I end up preferring more of the surgery stuff, but then again, I really like not having to listen to other. And aside from listening to, you know, just guidelines, the law and all that, I'm talking about like having my own clinic that I'm the boss of. And obviously, when I say that, I mean to use in a positive way for the patients. I don't just mean like, woohoo, party in the halls. Yeah, we're going to have a Popcorn machine. Popcorn machines never make that great of popcorn. You know what a good popcorn machine is? It's called popcorn and a microwave. And a clinic, it's different if you have also a mental health clinic. Wait, we must finish the disorder specifications. Okay, the other specified mental disorder is the category applies to presentations in which symptoms or characteristics of mental disorder that causes clinically significant distress or impairment in social or occupational or other important areas of functioning predominant, but do not meet the full criteria for any specific mental disorder. Okay, so it's used where the clinician chooses to communicate the specific reason that the presentation does not meet the criteria for any specific mental disorder. This one makes sense. It's basically like some shit's wrong with you, but you don't fit what's in the categories exactly. But what's happening is obviously, I'm going to call it an other specified mental disorder because it still is meeting the whole point of causing clinically significant distress, which is a very important point. I think people need to remember that, which is where it's that's where the whole from being obsessively being obsessive and at being organized goes from being obsessed with being organized and having that run your life along with a million other things has to cause clinically significant distress, and that's when it's clinically significant symptoms. It's not subclinical symptoms where it's slightly disordered or just not of the average amongst people. And then we have counter to the counter or as opposed. Okay, so we have the specified, and now we have the unspecified mental disorder, which is this applies presentation which symptoms or characteristics of mental disorder that causes it so as to cause the significant, the clinically significant amount of stress. Which, by the way, I'm abbreviating that a lot because it also includes specifying about functioning and day-to-day life and stuff like that. But in this case, it has to do when the clinician chooses not to specify the reason that the criteria are not met for a specific mental disorder. Whereas the other one, the specified, is where the clinician chooses to specify. Or this is, the clinician chooses to communicate the specific reason that the presentation doesn't meet the criteria for any specific mental disorder. This one is the opposite. So this section is interesting in and of itself just from the point of view of if you were acting as a diagnostician. I guess it can be a bit boring, but personally I find it fascinating how you have to consider things down to how you're going to consider specified or not. Although I feel like this would be more of, is this under a specific section? Because I don't think they're saying this is a specific kind of disorder. Well, it can be counterintuitive for something called non-specific. Dissociative disorders. That's what I was trying to remember earlier when I was talking about dissociative stuff. Sorry. Almost there. Yeah, this is basically at the end where it's just the other stuff before the medication-induced movement disorders, and other adverse effects of medication, which I really want to go into as someone who's had a lot of experience with different types of medications, very many different types, very many different types of side effects, and has had the experience of waiting for them to go away and not waiting, and blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. Um, you want to run a clinic? Ooh, let's blow all this insurance money. Wait a minute. How am I blowing? How am I blowing away insurance money? Is that when shit is wrong with them, but not enough to categorize them with a specific disorder? Isn't organization supposed to run your life? Well, I was saying organization like when you say like I was saying like when it becomes from the saying oh I'm so OCD to oh I actually have OCD because it has to be like causing clinically significant distress and it has to meet certain categories in terms of how it affects a person's life. And which thing were you referring to when you were saying where it doesn't meet it? Basically, that was a section where we were talking about like the others section, and it's a lot about like what are they gonna the semantic like okay these are the others things, and some of them are caused by medical disorders. Then there are the ones that aren't, and the last two that I was talking about were the ones where they were mental disorders, and then one was where it would be specified why they don't meet the criteria, and then the other one is where it just the reasons why wouldn't be specified. That was from like it depending on if the clinician chooses to or not, and that's what they write it. Yet the unspecified they choose not to specify the reason criteria is not met for a specific mental disorder, including a bunch of things, and then this one, the clinician chooses to communicate the specific reason that the presentation does not meet the criteria, blah, 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 blah. You would be blowing the patient's insurance money. No, I would make it very much worthwhile. And also, I would really want to make it worthwhile because insurance companies suck a lot. And, you know, at least if you're going to pay for insurance, might as well get the most out of it. Damn it, this thing keeps falling down. And it's like the rubbery thing that, like, it acts as a buffer in between, like, the plastic thing. I can't really show you. In between the, you know, like when you have a gripper thing, hold your phone as a GPS, there's rubber in between. Yeah, this is on this part that's supposed to, like, hold the phone, but it's the attachment that holds the phone to the ring light. It's not that important. Okay, as we can see, my brain not working as well. So I'll probably be taking a break now. I don't see any reason why I won't go on with the I mean, you make a $5 Patreon pledge worthwhile, so I don't doubt your certified mental health assistance service would kick ass. Thank you. Also be great at advertising, at least I hope. I still plan to, I don't see any reason why I won't start the next thing. Crap, why is this being so difficult? Okay, damn it. I don't see any reason why I have a problem with doing my Patreon live. I just might need a very brief break. If there's any note from fiance. apologies for the brief intermission. I'm sad because the don't struggle thing is just too compact. I don't want to keep it. It's not as aesthetically appealing. Also, I mixed up the dates of my training. It's next week, not this week, which is good. I'm waking up a bit earlier, thankfully. Man, your mouth made those words hard to get out. Which ones? RIP, don't struggle. Well, have to go there, struggle, I guess. Insert old-timey laugh track. Okay, I will sort mail, brief bathroom break, and probably go and do the Patreon thing. Will not be a late one either way, even if I take a break. So, but I still want to do one tonight. So I'm hoping patrons will be able to join. For those that actually make it to the end, should do the shout outs in the beginning of Lou Lily, aka Lou the Mod, or Snowy the Mod, aka Snowy Swishfat, are my two first patrons. And up until we reach, for the first 5 patrons, we'll continue what we have now, which is a special of doing lives for tier 1, as opposed to restricting that for other tiers. So, thank you, Lou. Seriously, I'm trying my hardest here. Like, dude, seriously. Some of Patreon may end up also being, hey, study with me. But, to be honest, I realized that that's an actual thing on YouTube, is study with me. Just live streams of hours and hours and hours of studying, except they don't talk to you. Maybe I'll just do that. Just, hey, study with me. But yeah, the Patreon is actually really, really fun. And you get very, very frequent maybes photos. And I need to stop now because the ring light, I need a break from it for a little bit. But positive vibes. And I will see the YouTube peoples later, and Patreon peoples unless anything happens very, very soon. Please join me on Patreon. Please check that link. The link is in the description. And do make sure you're still subscribed, by the way, and the notifications are on, because YouTube is annoying. Do I need to do anything else? Like the video, leave a comment. I love comments. Comments are my favorite thing. I really adore comments. I don't think I'm forgetting anything else YouTube-y. Yeah, I think we're good. We're good. All right. Good night, all.